guys, we are back with another video. Here is the reminders on everything you're supposed to do. Pause and read. Now I just want to go over it from yesterday. So we've been learning about latitude and longitude lines, right? Latitude lines go horizontal, right, side to side, and longitude lines go up and down. So all these lines that you see right here are longitude lines, right? Now we also have something called time zones. So as you can see, every space between these lines is a time zone, right? That means time is different, right, from all the other previous spaces between them. So for example, this is a time zone, so the time is different here, and the time is different there. And then all these lines are 15 degrees apart. And you can see right here on the bottom, 0, then 15, then 30, they all increase by 15. And then the same way this way, right? And you know why there's two 15s, right? Because remember, one of them is for the west and one of them is for the east. So remember when we were writing our coordinates that you would either write east, right? E for east or W for west in your numbers. This is the reason why. Because remember, in the middle, the prime meridian is what separates, right, the longitude lines. So again, the longitude lines help separate the time zones. They're the vertical lines, and there are 24 lines because there's 24 hours in the day. Okay? Now, I'm just going over, there are 6 different time zones in the United States, right? But the 4 major ones right here, we have Pacific time, Mountain time, Central time, and Eastern time. You definitely have heard those, especially when you're watching TV. And then you have Hawaiian and Alaskan time. So these two are in 2 different time zones because they are not near the main country, right? And you know these 2 are part of the United States. They're part of the 50 states, okay? So this is how it works, right? Each time zone, just like you saw in this picture, they're all 15 degrees apart and 1 hour apart. So you have 4 different time zones, right? Just looking at these, not even paying attention to Alaska or Hawaii, these are all 1 hour apart now, which is which. So you know for sure, right, that New York is always ahead in time of California, right? They're always behind. California is always behind. New York is, well, technically will experience always things first in time, right? So if it's 5 o'clock here, we go back, it's 4 o'clock here, then 3, then 2, right? You're going back. Now, that means you're subtracting time, right? Just 1 hour. Now, if you're going to go forward, you're adding an hour. Now, you also have to pay attention to if it's nighttime or the morning, okay? So right here, it's PM. That's super important because that tells you what day it is, okay? Because what if you were, what if it was 12 a.m. in New York and you're trying to figure out what time it is in Texas? So we're only going to go back 1, right? But it's not going to be 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. It's going to be 11 p.m., right? Because 12 a.m. is midnight. It's nighttime. So if we go 1 hour back to Texas, it's going to be 11 p.m. Got it? So now let's just go over the answers or questions from yesterday. Okay? So I gave you the exact time and you had to figure out, okay, what time it was. So let's read this aloud. David and Joni are traveling to Massachusetts for a wedding. If their plane leaves California, right here, at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and lands in Massachusetts, which is over here, at 3:30 p.m., what time will it be in California when they arrive? So they're going from California to Massachusetts, right? And they're asking what time will it be in California when you arrive in Massachusetts. So let's just do the math. So I know for sure, you can even tell right here on the top, that you have to add time. You have to add an hour every time zone you go to the right. So if you're in California and it's 7 a.m., then over here it'll be 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Okay? So then again, you're adding 3 hours, right? Now, you have to figure out what time will it be in California when it's 3:30, okay? So if it's Massachusetts at 3:30 p.m., then you have to figure out what time it is in California, so you go back. So it's 3:30, 2:30, 1:30, 12:30, 12:30 p.m., right? Because it's p.m. Because that's what it's asking you. Can I write this down? Yes. So the answer is 12:30 p.m. Okay? Let's try another one. So if a live, right, like live TV, New Year's Eve TV special begins broadcasting at 10 p.m. in New York, what time will viewers in Oregon, right here, tune in? So if it's 10 p.m. over here, what time will it be in Oregon? I know for sure that I have to subtract when going back to the west side, to California, to Oregon. So if it's 10 p.m. here, then it'll be 9 p.m., 8 p.m., 7 p.m. And that's it. So let me write that down. 7 p.m. You have to be careful. Remember, p.m. and a.m., right? A.m. means in the morning, p.m. means in the afternoon. Next one, right? Chance wants to wish his cousin a happy birthday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Chance lives in Texas and his cousin lives in Ohio. So first I would find where Texas is, right? Chance lives in Texas and his cousin lives in Ohio right here. So it's in a different time zone, I already know that. What time will it be at his cousin's house when Chance calls to say happy birthday? So what time will it be in Ohio when in Texas it's 9 a.m.? This is a simple one, right? Because all I have to do is add, all right, 1 hour. So if I add from 9 a.m., I will get 10 a.m. Got it? Now, this is what the tricky part is. We're going to add travel time. Anytime you go anywhere, right, if you're actually traveling, you have to include the traveling time. If, for example, you're just talking in real live time, like right here, like if you make a call, that's live. You're not going anywhere, you're not traveling. So you don't have to add or worry about traveling time. However, look at this question. So when you are traveling from one time zone to another, you have to take into account travel time, meaning how long it's going to take you to go from one place to another. Okay? So example, let's say I am flying from California to New York. It takes 6 hours. Okay? If I leave California at 4 a.m., what time will I arrive in New York? Okay, so the first thing I would do is figure out what direction I'm traveling in. So I find my spot, California, New York is over here. So I'm going to be traveling to the right, to the east. So then that means I will be adding right, in my time zone. Okay, so if it's right, so you already know the direction. Then I'm going to figure out, right, how I change my time. So let's first figure out the time zone time change, and then we'll add the traveling time. So first, we're in California. So I leave California at 4 a.m., right? So let's first change the time. So it's 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So it's 7 a.m. right here, right? So now I have to take into account the 6 hours that I traveled, okay? So those 6 hours do not just disappear. So it's 7 a.m. here. Now I add 6 hours. So if I add 6 hours, it would be 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11, 11 what? p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m. So I would arrive in New York 2 p.m. So let's try it again with another one. Okay? Let's say I'm traveling from Montana, right here, to Florida. It takes 8 hours on a plane. If I leave Montana at 10 p.m., what time will I arrive in Florida? Okay? So again, I know that I'm going this way, so I have to add the time. So let's first change the time zone. So if I leave Montana at 10 p.m., it'll be 11 p.m., then 12 a.m., right? Then I have to take account the 8 hours that I traveled on the plane. So it's 12 a.m., then 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So I will make it to Florida at 9 a.m. Okay? So now I actually put steps on how, the next slide on how to do it. So first you have to find out the direction in which you're traveling in, right? Where are the states that you're going from place to place? And then change the time based on the time zone you are traveling to, right? First change the time zone. So then that means you're either adding or subtracting. So if you go from the west side to the east, you're going to be adding. If you go from the east to the west, you're going to be subtracting, right? And that's if you go any direction to the west. So even if I'm here and I go to the west, I have to subtract, okay? So anytime I'm going to the right, I add. Anytime I'm going to the left, I subtract. And then change the time based on the time zone you are traveling to. You either adding or subtracting. Then add your travel time to the results from step 2. That's the last part. Just add your travel time. You always just add it. You never subtract your travel time because you can't take away from time, right? Because travel time is always going forward. Okay? Next, I want you to go to the Google form, and then there are more practice questions. It's from the same map, but just different questions. It will look like this. Right, it's right there. Just like yesterday, but they're with different questions. But they're going to be questions like what we did today. Alright, if you have any questions, please let me know.